Welcome to Silent Screams, where darkness, whispers, and terror await you. Are you ready to confront your fears? Story 1: The Haunting of Hollowwood Manor. It was an unassuming envelope that set everything into motion. Melanie, a travel blogger known for her fearless exploration of haunted locations, found the thick, yellowed parchment in her mailbox one rainy evening. The envelope bore no return address. Only the ominous words, an invitation to uncover the truth of Hollowwood Manor. Hollowwood Manor had a reputation. Situated deep within the misty forests of Blackridge, the manor was rumored to be cursed, a place where the dead lingered and the living never stayed for long. Drawn by the challenge, Melanie packed her gear, ignoring the nagging voice in her mind that whispered warnings of untold horrors. The journey to Hollowwood Manor was arduous. As Melanie's car rattled along the uneven dirt road, the dense forest seemed to close in around her. By the time the manor came into view, the sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving the world cloaked in twilight. The building loomed like a shadow against the dying light, its broken windows and peeling facade giving it the appearance of a forgotten relic. As she approached the heavy wooden doors, they creaked open, as if welcoming her, or warning her. Inside, the air was thick with decay and the faint smell of something metallic. The walls were adorned with portraits of stern-faced individuals whose eyes seemed to follow her. As Melanie ventured deeper, she felt an odd sensation, a tingling at the back of her neck, as if unseen eyes were watching her every move. Melanie set up her camera equipment in the grand foyer, its once opulent chandelier now dangling precariously. The first night was eerily quiet, save for the occasional groan of the old house settling. But as the clock struck midnight, the temperature plummeted. Her breath came out in visible puffs, and the faint sound of footsteps echoed from the upper floor. Summoning her courage, Melanie climbed the creaking staircase, flashlight in hand. The footsteps led her to a locked door at the end of the hallway. Scratched into the wood were the words, "Leave while you can." Ignoring the warning, she pried the door open, revealing a small, dusty room. In the center lay a child's rocking horse, its faded paint and chipped wood giving it a sinister air. As she turned to leave, the rocking horse began to move on its own, the creaking sound echoing in the stillness.
The next day, Melanie delved into the manor's history, piecing together its tragic past. It had once belonged to the Hollowwood family, whose youngest daughter, Clara, mysteriously disappeared in the late 1800s. Rumors of occult rituals and dark practices surrounded the family, and the townsfolk whispered that Clara's spirit had never left the manor.
As Melanie explored the basement, she discovered a hidden door concealed behind rotting crates. Beyond it was a chamber carved from stone, its walls etched with symbols she couldn't decipher. In the center was an altar, dark stains hinting at the unspeakable acts that had taken place there. Suddenly, a child's laughter echoed through the chamber. Melanie spun around, her flashlight flickering. In its beam, she caught a glimpse of a small figure darting past, a girl in a white dress, her face obscured by shadows. The final night was a crescendo of terror. Melanie awoke to the sound of whispers, dozens of voices overlapping in a cacophony that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. Her camera, which she had left recording in the foyer, was now on the bed beside her, its screen displaying static. Determined to uncover the truth, she returned to the basement. The air was stifling, heavy with the scent of sulfur. As she entered the chamber, the whispers grew louder, coalescing into a single word, "Stay." The temperature plummeted, and Melanie felt an icy hand grip her shoulder. Spinning around, she found herself face to face with Clara. The girl's eyes were voids, black and endless, and her mouth twisted into a ghastly grin. The room began to spin as shadows emerged from the walls, their forms writhing and shifting. They encircled Melanie, their skeletal hands reaching for her. In a desperate bid to escape, she dashed up the stairs. But the house seemed alive, its walls narrowing and its doors slamming shut. In the end, it was sheer luck that saved her. Melanie found herself in the grand foyer, the front door inexplicably open. She sprinted into the night, not daring to look back until she reached her car. As she drove away, the manor stood in her rear-view mirror, its windows glowing faintly as if watching her departure. Weeks later, when Melanie reviewed her footage, she found only static. But amidst the noise, a single frame stood out, a blurred image of Clara standing behind her, her hollow eyes staring into the camera. And beneath the image, scrawled in blood-red text, were the words, "You can never leave." Story 2, The Curse of Hollowridge Manor. The villagers called it cursed. Hollowridge Manor, a sprawling mansion hidden deep within the woods, had been abandoned for decades. Once the home of the affluent Hollowridge family, it was now a crumbling relic of sorrow and whispered tales of vengeful spirits. Locals spoke of eerie lights flickering in the windows at night and disembodied screams carried by the wind. No one dared to approach it, not even during the day. Amelia Carter, a freelance writer, was immune to such superstitions. She had spent years documenting urban legends and haunted locations, always chasing the elusive truth behind the stories. When she first heard of Hollowridge Manor, she knew it would be the perfect centerpiece for her next book. Despite the warnings of locals, she packed her gear and headed into the woods, ready to uncover the secrets of the infamous manor. The sun was beginning to set as Amelia reached the overgrown path leading to the house. The manor loomed ahead, a silhouette against the dying light, its broken windows staring like empty eyes. She felt a chill run down her spine but dismissed it as a reaction to the cold evening air. Just another story, she muttered to herself. But as she crossed the threshold, she couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was watching her. The interior of the manor was a mausoleum of decay. Dust blanketed the furniture, cobwebs hung like curtains, and the faint smell of mildew lingered in the air. Amelia's footsteps echoed in the grand hallway as she explored, her flashlight cutting through the darkness. In the library, she stumbled upon an old, leather-bound diary resting on a desk. The name Elizabeth Hollowridge was embossed on the cover. Intrigued, Amelia opened it, flipping through the fragile pages. Elizabeth's entries began as mundane recountings of daily life but grew darker as the pages turned. "My family is cursed," one entry read. "The deaths, they were no accident. Something beneath this house hungers for us. I hear it in my dreams, whispering my name. I fear it will claim me soon." Amelia shuddered as she read. The entries hinted at an artifact buried beneath the manor, an object tied to an ancient curse. Elizabeth's words were frantic. Desperate, the roots grow deep. And so does the curse. We cannot escape it. A sudden creak broke the silence. Amelia froze, her flashlight swinging toward the source of the noise. The hallway behind her was empty, but the oppressive silence seemed to thicken, pressing in around her. Later that night, Amelia set up camp in the drawing room, spreading her notebooks and recording equipment across an old table. As she reviewed Elizabeth's diary, a faint sound reached her ears, a child sobbing. It was faint at first but grew louder, echoing through the halls. "Hello?" she called, her voice trembling. The sobbing stopped abruptly, replaced by a chilling silence. Amelia followed the sound to the second floor, where she found a small bedroom. The room was in ruins, its walls peeling and the furniture splintered. But the air felt different, heavier. As she turned to leave, she caught sight of a figure in the corner. It was a young girl in a torn white dress, her hair matted and her eyes hollow. Before Amelia could react, the girl vanished, leaving behind a faint whisper, "Don't dig where the roots grow deepest." Amelia stumbled back, her heart racing. She wanted to leave, but the pull of the story was stronger. She had to know more. Determined to uncover the truth, Amelia delved deeper into the diary and explored the manor's forgotten corners. She discovered symbols etched into the walls of the basement, cryptic markings that pulsed with an unnatural energy. As she pieced together Elizabeth's writings, Amelia learned of an artifact buried beneath the house, a relic cursed by its original owner, a vengeful spirit known as the Keeper. The curse had claimed the lives of the Hollowridge family, one by one, driving them to madness before their untimely deaths. Ignoring the warnings, Amelia found herself drawn to the cellar, where the artifact was said to be hidden. She dug into the dirt floor, her shovel striking something solid. She unearthed a small, blackened chest adorned with the same symbols she had seen on the walls. The moment she touched it, the house seemed to come alive. The walls groaned, and shadows writhed like living things. Amelia heard Elizabeth's voice in her mind, pleading, "Leave it. You don't know what you've awakened." The air grew thick with malice as Amelia opened the chest, revealing a twisted, metallic artifact pulsating with an eerie red glow. Suddenly, a deafening roar filled the room, and a towering figure emerged from the shadows, a grotesque, skeletal being cloaked in darkness. The Keeper had been unleashed. Amelia scrambled to escape, but the cellar door slammed shut. She remembered the ritual Elizabeth had described, a way to banish the spirit, but it required a sacrifice. The Keeper advanced, its hollow eyes fixed on her as it whispered in a guttural voice, "You cannot escape. The curse is eternal." With no other choice, Amelia began the ritual, chanting the words from Elizabeth's diary. The artifact grew hotter in her hands, burning her skin. But she held on. The Keeper screeched, its form flickering as the ritual took hold. Just as the final words left her lips, the house began to collapse, the walls crumbling as the ground beneath it opened up. Amelia hurled the artifact into the abyss, and the Keeper let out one final, ear-piercing scream before vanishing into the void. Amelia staggered out of the manor as it sank into the earth, her body battered and her mind reeling. She thought she was safe, but as she looked down at her hands, she saw the marks, the same symbols from the artifact, burned into her skin. Hollowridge Manor was gone, swallowed by the earth. But its curse lived on. Weeks later, a group of hikers stumbled upon Amelia's abandoned car near the woods. They reported hearing faint whispers and seeing a shadowy figure watching them from the trees.
No one ever saw Amelia again, but locals say her screams still echo through the forest on quiet nights. A warning to those who dare to uncover the secrets of Hollowridge Manor.
Story 3: The House That Never Sleeps. Lauren Carter never believed in ghosts. A practical woman in her late 30s, she spent her days managing a bustling coffee shop and her nights binge-watching crime documentaries. Her life was predictable. Mundane even. Until the day she received an email from a law firm representing an estate she'd never heard of. The message was concise. "Congratulations, Ms. Carter. You are the sole beneficiary of the Aldridge Manor estate." Lauren had no relatives named Aldridge. Yet, curiosity gnawed at her. After a few weeks of deliberation, she drove to the remote countryside where the manor stood, a towering, decayed relic of the Victorian era. The moment Lauren stepped inside the manor, an icy chill wrapped around her. Dust motes floated in the dim light filtering through cracked windows. The air was heavy with a scent of mildew and something metallic, like blood. As Lauren explored the manor, she noticed strange details, portraits of people with hollow eyes, doors that creaked open on their own, and a grandfather clock that ticked though its hands never moved. But it wasn't until nightfall that the house came alive. In the darkness, whispers filled the air. They were faint at first, like the rustle of leaves. But soon, they formed words, calling her name. "Lauren, you came back." Determined to uncover the source of the voices, Lauren ventured into the attic, where the air was suffocatingly thick. She found a chest sealed with a rusted padlock. Breaking it open revealed a stack of journals belonging to a woman named Evelyn Aldridge, a name Lauren vaguely remembered from the email. The entries detailed Evelyn's descent into madness. She spoke of shadows that crawled through walls, children who appeared in mirrors, and a presence that fed on loneliness. The final entry read, "It demands a new air. It will not rest until one of us returns." Suddenly, the attic door slammed shut. The whispers became screams. The days blurred into nights as Lauren's grip on reality began to fray. The manor seemed to breathe, its walls pulsating like a living organism. She started seeing figures, pale and translucent, wandering the halls. They would vanish the moment she approached. One night, Lauren woke to find a child standing at the foot of her bed. The girl's eyes were voids, black as coal. "You don't belong here," the child whispered before vanishing. Lauren's belongings were also disappearing, her phone, car keys, even her shoes. It was as if the house was trapping her. Desperate, Lauren turned to the only clue she had, Evelyn's journals. She discovered a ritual described in the final pages, a way to sever the manor's hold. The instructions were vague but pointed to the basement. The basement was a cavernous pit of darkness. In its center stood a well covered by an iron grate. As Lauren removed the grate, the whispers turned into a deafening roar. A force yanked her towards the well, and she caught a glimpse of faces, dozens of them, pressed against the walls, their mouths wide in silent screams. Using matches from her pocket, she set fire to the journals and threw them into the well. The house shook violently as if in agony. The faces melted into the walls, and the whispers ceased. Lauren escaped the house just as it collapsed into rubble. Exhausted and traumatized, she drove away without looking back. Months later, while unpacking in her new apartment, Lauren found something she hadn't packed, a portrait from Aldridge Manor. It showed her standing beside Evelyn Aldridge, both smiling as if they had always belonged together. And then the whispers began again. "Welcome home, Lauren."